Do you know what I hate about coffee mugs? So I'm a huge collector of coffee mugs. And this one's really cool. It's this awesome fox here. But what makes me upset is I'm right-handed. And like in order for all my friends to see my cool coffee mug, I have to hold it with my left hand. And I don't like that. I'm really excited about this episode. And let me tell you why. My amazing friend, Chris Hunter, is a guest on my show. And Chris and I are going to show you guys that two grown men can have two opposing views for the most part when it comes to politics and still get along great and still be friends. I think this thing's kind of unheard of. But tell the world first who you are and what you do.
I am a hospitality consultant. I own hotelrevenueman.com. A lot of hoteliers will find me there, or they will find me with my YouTube videos. Whenever I run across a new situation with a client, I go ahead and make a quick video letting people know about the problem that was addressed and how to fix it. So I give a lot of information away for free, but some people pick me up as a longtime client.
Chris, I want to talk about our relationship here for just a second. Chris and I, we met, I don't know, 8-10 years ago. It's been a while, but we used to actually work together at for a tourism company. And yeah, we just really kind of kicked it off, and we've been friends ever since.
I was always really nervous because you were famous. And so whenever you would walk through the sales floor, oh my gosh, there's the famous Chris Canote. Are we allowed to talk to him? I just didn't know.
I love that story.
But then I learned you're regular.
I'm just a normal guy, dude. But that story, man, actually cracks me up. And when you told me that, I was like,
me too.
That's awesome. But Chris, the whole point of this whole thing is to just show the world how you and I can kind of be on polar opposite sides when it comes to perspective when talking politics. But first, Chris, tell us, how do you identify politically?
Okay, as of right now, I'm going to go conservative libertarian. So what's that, right middle?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Can I say that? Is that a thing?
That's absolutely a thing. I would identify as just really independent because growing up, my dad and his side of the family were strong Democrats, and my mother and her side of the family were strong Republicans. Matter of fact, my mom's father, my grandpa, was a preacher. And so I was right in the middle, you know what I mean? Like, I would hear this side, I would hear that side. And what's cool is my parents, wanted me to always have a mind of my own. I'm very grateful for that. So, but really, I was grateful growing up in that household. Some would say it's a house divided, but it really wasn't. It was a house full of lots of information, if you will. And so, yeah, I'm very grateful for that. Like I said, I identify as just kind of being in the middle, independent. I don't like to live in this box. A lot of people on my Facebook page totally think I'm a liberal. They call me a liberal all the time. We'll get there. But yeah, that is how I identify politically. I just kind of see it how it is, and I'm a realist, and yeah, that's it.
I just know whenever we have our talks on the phone, and a lot of times we'll take opposite sides of any specific view, we say, oh my gosh, other people have got to hear this, because it can get heated, but we're respectful of each other. And I think even more so, we are careful to listen to the other person's point of view, even if we think it's crazy. And sometimes we catch ourselves empathizing and going, I can see that you would see it that way, even though I don't agree. And then we hang up and we're still friends. And I'll say the vast majority of people, they pick one extreme, and it's so hard to even see another person's point of view. It's real uncomfortable, but you get a little bit more used to it the more you do it.
Absolutely. We've learned so much from each other over the years, which I think is so cool. But let's shift here and talk about just like Facebook for a second. Chris, do you think there is like a separation from like reality versus perception of someone when it comes to having like a political discussion on Facebook? Let's just say, for example, I'm kind of known for my controversial posts on Facebook. Do you think people, though, like let's say I post something that you don't agree with and I'm disagreeing with you, do you think like some people just have this like inner dialogue in their head, like when they're reading my comments, even if I'm being totally cool, like you and I are having a discussion right now, in their head, am I screaming at them? Like, am I coming off like as a jerk? Is that like a thing?
I, I, it's hard to present on Facebook. The problem is, and we talk about this often, I think a lot of time you and I will interact with others, assuming that everyone else interacts the same way. Like you're respectful of other people's points of view and you can hear it opposing. And I think a lot of people aren't. So when you put yourself out there, assuming these things and people are happy to listen to opposing point of view, a lot of times they're not. So people jump in both extremes immediately, full guns blazing, and it just becomes a mess quick. You're going, wait, what happened here? I thought we were just going to have a conversation. So I think our interaction with each other kind of ruins us for social media like Facebook because I think a lot of people aren't used to that.
Absolutely. And that's why I think our relationship's so special. And that's why I want to do this episode, because how many friendships do you think are out there? I mean, do you think this is a pretty rare relationship that you and I have?
I think it's exceptionally rare because there are even times when you and I get heated and it's like, oh man, I can't believe that guy. But still, for some reason, we choose to be uncomfortable and just be friends the next day.
Exactly. And I think the world needs more of this. And I think it's capable. Do you agree?
Yes. So I think something that really helped prepare me for interacting with someone like this is I was raised independent fundamental Baptist, which is super strict, super conservative. And so I was told a lot of things about God, the Bible, and the world. This is the way it is 100%. Look, we can show you. So I believe those things. And as I grew up, I learned, I don't know if I want to say, yeah, I probably want to say a lot. A lot of those things were not true. Now, the basics were true, but a lot of the things weren't. So it got me thinking, and I still think this way, what else do I believe to be 100% true that's not? What if I'm really taking an extreme and hard point of view, and in 1 year, I will have learned new information, and I will look back and go, I was wrong and I made myself look like a fool. So that really helps me to be more open to other people's points of view because I don't know what I believe right now that's wrong because I haven't gotten that new information. So I try to tread lightly knowing I could be wrong.
That's pretty fascinating though. And I've taken like that journey like in my younger 20s, and stuff, but like Facebook, like let's talk about like the psychology there. Like people, it just seems like people want to fight. It's like it doesn't matter what you're sharing. A lot of people these days just want something to argue about. I just think that's crazy.
There's lots of science and it's shared in some of the Facebook groups I follow with the scientists and stuff. They share all the time how you show someone truth, science, logic, reason, actual facts, they're completely uninterested. It's like a scientific thing. And so all these studies that are done about it. And so even when you get the proof and the facts, that doesn't mean that you're going to be successful in winning somebody over.
Let's talk about the coronavirus. Dude, what crazy times we're living in, right?
So crazy. I just think all the time it's like these Hollywood movies that were put together and everyone has to be locked in their house, and you can think of all the bad horror movies that come around too.
So an observation I've seen lately that still just, it blows my mind. There's a lot of people out there who still believe that the influenza, regular flu, is still more lethal than the coronavirus. Like, this just blows my mind. Why do you think that is? And do you think that influenza is more deadly than coronavirus?
Okay, and for me, I don't believe right now, I don't believe that it's just the flu or the bad flu. Okay. I will tell you I did. So I think this is the struggle people are having, especially if someone's conservative or libertarian, because you've got the government and many times, and the media, many times have been proven to be lying and have ulterior motives. And they're like, there's two people you can't trust. It's the government and it's the media. And now everybody, superlative and extreme word, everybody, including the government and the media, is going, this time it's really bad though. Trust us. And we're going, and all the conspiracy theorists are coming out. And we've talked about this before. A real big problem with information today, we've got access to the world's information at our fingertips. But if you want to believe it's just a bad flu, I can find a doctor, a scientist, and a study and a graph that shows that. And if you want to believe, which I believe it probably is, that it's as bad as the media and everyone says it is, you can find lots of information that way. And so if you can find a conspiracy theorist who's got a page somewhere with all this evidence, then it might be hard to change your mind.
There is no better time to be a conspiracy theorist than right now.
Right? Because it's so crazy. The truth is crazy.
It is. It is crazy. I mean, I never thought in my life I would live through something like this. But with that said, the other day I shared a post and it said almost 200,000 coronavirus deaths already worldwide. Now, worldwide's the key word here. The regular influenza kills between, on average, I believe 300,000 and 600,000 worldwide. That is with a global shutdown that 200,000 people have died from coronavirus. We do not shut down for the flu season. And between 300,000 and 600,000 people die. We're already almost at that yearly average of 300,000, and that's with the whole global shutdown. So I want to know your thoughts. If we did not do a global shutdown, do you think coronavirus would be just sky high? Mortality rate.
I think it has to be. I'll tell you, at the beginning of this thing, I believed it's like a flu. It's not going to be that big a deal. But that's because of the information I had at the time. And I think that's very important because people will look back at something that somebody said 2 months ago and they'll go, oh, they said it wasn't a big deal. Well, they were operating off the information they had at that time. So I actually give, on both sides, left or right, I give people a really big pass on that because I don't think it's fair to interpret from everything that we know now what they were saying back then. But I do a lot of data analysis for hotels. So they'll give me lots of information about occupancy and their average rate and how much revenue and profit they made and expenses. And so I have to figure out how they can be most profitable. And then I give them that inside information. Well, one of the key things that I have learned through all of this data is networking, not like computer networking, but like there's been studies that have been done from emails, how emails get from one person to the next, how a disease is spread, the electrical grid, how electricity gets from one place to the next, and even 6 degrees of separation. They'll give someone a letter in the middle of Missouri and say, there is some lady in England, and this is her name. You got to figure out how to get this to her. So she'll check with someone at church. Does anyone know anyone from England? And they'll say, my cousin lives there. So they'll hand it off, and they'll try to get to the next person. It ends up being about 4.5 degrees of separation, so it's even less than that. Any 2 random people in the world. I say all that to say this. The quickest way to spread information, disease, electricity, whatever it is for 2 random connections. What that means is if I'm on a subway and I have coronavirus and I interact with someone who does not, I now can potentially infect their entire network. Real quick, what does that look like? Family, if their spouse works, wherever they work, the kids where they go to school, the teachers, everywhere at the time they use the gas pump, they go to the grocery, and you just see with one connection, it just explodes. So they said from the very beginning, we're going to shut this thing down. And when it's successful, there will be people who say, yeah, see, you didn't need to shut it down, did you? And there will be the other people opposite that say, good thing we did it. Whatever you want to believe, you can find information to support it. I think we had to.
So this thing is a novel virus, which means we don't know much about it. And that's why it's so important to practice 14th century quarantining, because that's all you can do until you have a vaccine or have a better understanding of this thing. And matter of fact, a local doctor from Cox Health today shared an image saying, guys, this is not the flu. It's like, here's a picture of your lungs on the flu. Here's a picture of your lungs on COVID-19. And what's crazy about the image scan is that COVID, I'm sure you already know this, it attacks the lungs and actually goes deeper than regular viral pneumonia, which is so crazy to me. And so I think people, guys, right now, coronavirus is more deadly than the flu. And it has to be because it is SARS 2.0. And the first SARS already had a higher mortality rate than the flu. So, I mean, I think we already know coronavirus has a higher mortality rate, the COVID-19. What do you think, Chris?
I think it's one of those things again. Whatever you want to believe, you can find facts to support it. So I'll show you some of the extremes. They say well, a lot of things are being at the hospitals are being uh, called coronavirus and they don't know what it is. Like, oh, that guy came in. Well, he coughed. He died. Okay, it's coronavirus. Because if we check that box, we get money from the government and from the hospital agency. I don't.
Okay, so is that real or is
I don't know.
all rumor? Is that all rumor? I think it's
I don't
all
know.
rumor. I have heard the rumors. I have seen some YouTube videos. I can't validate them. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, and I don't claim that either. I'm just saying if someone wants to believe that, then they can. And then just a lot of conspiracy theories along those lines. You know, you can find obscure websites with doctors that don't necessarily have degrees in that field telling you whatever you want to hear.
We always make jokes about that. There's the websites to stay away from when someone tries to send me a website. If it says like the USA American Eagle Journal of Patriotism.com. Yeah, I don't usually look at that as a legitimate source, especially when I'm getting like 40 pop-up ads while I'm there trying to sell me like a cowboy hat and some boots. But I think what's crazy is I know you're saying, you know, like, well, you know, the information, conspiracy theories about the numbers. Besides China, we know there is no other reason for Australia, Italy, the UK to lie to us about their numbers. And so I think it's almost absurd and kind of disrespectful to not trust in those numbers. I know we can't put our trust in man 100%, but we have to put our trust somewhere. And we can't guess, and we can't do rumors, and we can't just go by these crazy websites you and I, you know, talk these conspiracy theories. So I don't know. I think this thing would have been horrible if we didn't lock down.
Yeah, and I think it's even if someone doesn't believe the numbers are 100% correct, I think it's the best information we have to go off. So I don't think it's ridiculous to believe that those numbers are true. So I'm to the point at the very beginning, even the professionals were like, flu, not a big deal. Now that I've got new information even every day, I believe that it is a serious disease. And the newest thing as of right now, they're saying actually a bunch of people could have it, but the vast majority, they get a sniffle or they have no symptoms. And so I think that's what will play out over the next probably 2 weeks. We'll get more information about that. But if you get it and it's bad, that's what's not good. So they're trying to, at this point, being ignorant, trying to keep everybody safe.
So you think the mortality rate's going to go down? What percentage are you thinking?
I actually don't know. And that's something I found that's very helpful and very frustrating to people is when I don't know, a lot of times people will pick a side, an extreme side. I have no idea. But just because the mortality rate goes down, all those people that died still died. So if you're one of those, I mean, that's really not great. I've heard a lot of stories, and I think this is the way we're going. Something like this rolls out in the country. They go about life as normal, but then they take people's temperatures, and then they wear masks and gloves, and they're just really careful. And everyone who is suspect or maybe elderly or compromised, they're self-quarantine, and they're able to carry on and keep their economy going without sending everyone to their homes. So that might choose to be effective or ineffective in the upcoming weeks.
So yesterday, I find I find this really just so interesting and kind of comical. Donald Trump was talking to his staff about the possibility of like hitting the body with a tremendous amount of UV light or injecting UV light into the body. I've never heard of that. Maybe it is a thing. I don't know. But what blew my mind was this is the message I got from it. He was asking his staff if there was a way to, like he said, like a disinfectant, how disinfectants are shown to get rid of the virus in like minutes. He's like, is there a way we can like inject something like in a disinfectant into the body, into the lungs to like cure the coronavirus? And it just made me go, what? Like, What? Like I don't know. I was so I don't know if you saw this or not, but like, what do you think about that?
Fake news. What the news did, if it bleeds, it leads. What they did is go, oh, we can make this controversial, because if you widen it up and you look at the context of what had happened, he had just had a medical professional come in and was talking about the tests that they had run, and they would put this product on the coronavirus and it would kill it in a minute without touching it. Now, if you took it and you rubbed it, it would die in 30 seconds. So he's saying, we have found something that kills this. So Trump is going, we found something that kills this. And he asks the question, is there a way we could find something like that to put in the body to kill it there? That seems reasonable to me.
It was just funny and weird to me because he sounds so elementary asking these questions to his staff. It's almost like this is a question you should be asking from day one. He's like, is there something we can inject into the body that can kill the virus? I'm like, dude, I mean, what do you think the entire point of a vaccine is? And antivirals, like these are all injections that you can do in the body to hopefully, stop or prevent the virus. And so I don't know. It just, it just sounded so like elementary to me. And it's like, man, we just have to like tear apart everything this guy says because I don't know. I just think he should stick to a script or something. I don't know.
I don't understand why it's a big deal. It's like people act like he murdered a child or something. I'm like, he's asking, we can do this in the lab. Can we do it in the body?
Well,
That's reasonable.
even the ultraviolet thing kind of made me laugh because I'm like this tremendous UV light. I'm like stronger than like the sun, the tanning bed. Like, are we gonna have like, is our skin gonna like melt off like on Terminator 2?
Well, they said the virus doesn't like heat, so I picture on the most basic level someone getting in a tanning bed. That probably would, on some level, kill whatever's on the skin. So it's like that's not ridiculous. And the medical professional actually described, I think he called it injecting UV light into the body, and actually you can do that, and it does this, that, and the other. So that's actually how it was described by the medical professional.
So you can actually inject UV light into your
I have no
body?
idea. No idea.
I have never heard of that.
No.
How do you inject light into your body?
I don't know. Maybe he was being figurative, or maybe that's a real medical procedure. I don't know. I had never heard of it.
That's funny. It's so interesting to me. Now there's like Lysol put out a statement today saying you guys cannot inject Lysol into your body. Like legit, they put that out.
If you have to tell someone that, then they're probably not going to make it through life anyway. That's what I say. It's like the prescription commercials, and this kills me every time. At the end of all of them, they go, if you are allergic to this drug, do not take it. Really? So if you take the drug and it makes you sick or tries to kill you, then you shouldn't take it. They have to legally say that now? That's just crazy.
So one of my friends said it perfectly today. It's too bad America didn't elect someone who could properly convey his thoughts and emotions without every interaction needing to be backtracked and clarified 10 times over. What are your thoughts on that?
What about Biden? No, I'm just kidding. I wanted to do that on purpose because that's a classic misdirection that we run into all the time. You're trying to talk about one specific issue and you're getting down to the heart of the matter. They go, but what about your guy? But what about their guy? So, what do I?
But Hillary, that's
Oh
the most
yeah,
famous one.
Hillary. You're like, yeah. So I
What
agree.
about her? Deflecting.
Deflection. Let's stay on target. Okay. So no, seriously. So what do I think about that? Yes, it is good to have a leader who is articulate and who can speak well on the fly. Yeah, that's the goal. You look at every president and they have their, I don't call them foibles. That seems like an old fashioned word. They have their mistakes. They're thinking they're talking on the fly. I mean, I'm glad I'm not held to that standard. And someone said, but you're not the leader of the free world, America. It's important, but that statement, it's just I don't know. I mean, basically it's true, but it seems fairly hateful.
Do you think it's important to be presidential when you're a president?
I do. And your follow-up question?
Do you think Donald Trump is presidential as president?
For the most part, I do not. And this is me being objective. And so I always picture Donald Trump WWF wrestling promoter, and he's getting in the ring, mixed man throwing chairs. That's fantastic. He's the great promoter, reality TV show. He is. Now, on the other hand, he's very presidential in that he takes care of business, and people are upset and they make fun of him. And before China brought the coronavirus to us, his numbers were record breaking in jobs and the economy and the stock market. He broke so many records you couldn't see straight. And so he did a great job, whether people love it or not, or want to give him credit. In that sense, he's presidential. He's getting the job done. But as he presents himself, he causes himself a lot of trouble because he doesn't play it cool.
Thank you. That was my one of my talking points the other day. I'm like, everyone's like, no president in history has ever been mistreated as much as Trump. And I'm going, well, here's the deal. He kind of makes himself an easy target. I mean, he even admits he's the most outspoken president ever. So when you're that outspoken, you just say it as it is, you're going to get backlash. He's the first president to ever go to Twitter with like any issue he's got on his mind. Like I mean, it's insane to me. I mean,
but that's also been one of the secrets of his success. So I have to say that too. When he's running, he did everything wrong, everything you're not supposed to do, and people loved it. They go, finally, a successful businessman, and he could turn our country around like a business instead of hiring another lawyer, because we've got so many lawyers that are presidents and career politicians, and they haven't really helped us a whole lot. And so the fact that he does everything wrong is also, I think, been part of his success. Just makes you cringe a little bit because you go, if you could do these things, but then also reel it in a little bit, but maybe it's a package deal. If you want the success that comes along with an extreme personality like that, then you got to take the cringe.
You were talking about record numbers with the economy and the stock market and all that. I think one thing I can never get to people, and it's like you and I have talked about, some people just choose not to believe facts. Even if the facts are in front of them, they don't want to believe it. And so one thing is, everyone's like, oh, Obama was terrible. The economy was terrible through, Obama's, time in office. And if you actually look back, I mean, I can pull up a chart right now. Obama inherited a pretty crappy economy, if we remember from the Bush administration. Some really crazy tough times. Mission accomplished. And if you actually look at the graph, time did kind of suck there for a couple years or more. But if you actually look, unemployment keeps dropping. And then by the time Trump was president, it was getting up there. Now, I'm not going to say that Trump didn't boost it more, but I think it's unfair to say that Obama wasn't helping the economy at all, because you can look up the data, you can see the chart right there. It was continuing. I mean, really, the only way is upward from there. I mean, we were so low, dude, with that crash of 2008. But I don't know why people have such a hard time with data and facts like that.
Coming from a conservative point of view, typically, what we would see Obama do is things that are typically more liberal, which is more regulations, increasing like food stamps to record levels, trying to get everyone on government programs. And we know that that's not productive because, again, like economically, if you don't have someone out working, then they're not producing value in the system. They're just taking. So we see those things on the news, and we see those statistics all the time. So we know that's not good for the economy. Now, the graph that you showed me that, and I was shocked. But I'm like, I got to be data analysis facts guy. And I'm like, if that's good data and it's from a reputable source, that's what it says. So I guess I got to give credit.
Do you think it's fair to say Obama was not scrutinized at all? I hear people say that all the time. Oh, Obama, we weren't like that to Obama.
Typical conservative talking point would be the liberal news media is in his back pocket. So they give him a pass on everything that's not good, and they just cover everything that's unimportant or no big deal. So he's got this entire media team working for him, and all the conservatives got Fox News. So that's probably where they come from.
Couldn't you say the same thing for Fox News and Trump?
Oh, yeah, easy. That's easily slanted. towards Trump.
Do you remember the tan suit scandal?
Yeah, it's really a dark time for our country.
Obama got scrutinized for wearing a tan suit. I thought that was so crazy. Mike, is that all they
But
got?
see, that's what conservatives would say. Oh, they finally bust him because of the clothes he wore. I mean that. Oh, they really worked him over. I bet he couldn't sleep that night. That's what I'm saying. Whereas, yeah, go ahead.
No, this is why I love you, dude. This is why I love you, man, because you have come so far, and I think I have too. I'll let you speak for that. But just, I think 3 years ago you would never have said that.
True. And during the Obama administration, I was still super conservative. So all of the conspiracy theory and right wing stuff, and just that's all that I saw. So I know that side fairly well. But I realized I need to be willing to be uncomfortable, to expose myself to what other people think and believe. And it doesn't mean they're bad people, and just see someone else's point of view, and maybe some things that I believed were wrong. But it's just these people go home and they have families and they're trying to be healthy and they just want the best for their kids. I mean, it doesn't mean they're terrible people. They just have different points of view. So I'm trying to be more open like that.
And this is another reason why I love you. You said this, I don't know, a few months ago, and it really blew my mind and put it in perspective, and I shared it with so many people. You said something that was so fascinating to me. You said, you know what? This is really hard for me to say, but I think Democrats, liberals have pure motives.
Yes. And because I chose to listen to other people's points of view, that's what I realized. And something I learned a long time ago is try to figure out somebody's motive, not the situation at hand. What is their motive? What are they trying to accomplish? So let's go. We don't have to delve deep into this. Just a quick example: abortion. Okay, so a conservative believes that that's a life and they are willing to do whatever it takes to save a life. That's noble, right? Even if someone doesn't, that's noble. Like, you believe that's a life and you'll give your life and your money and your time and stand on the cold street corner and try to save a young lady from killing her baby. That's noble. That's not bad, because that's what they believe and that's their motive. And then I go, okay, well, and that's what I had always been taught. I go, well, let's go to the other side. If someone really believes that's not a baby, this person is just trying to live their lives, well, then the libertarian in me rises up and goes, government, get out of our business. Let her make our own decisions. This is supposed to be a free country. And if she believes she's just having a surgical procedure, she's just getting her lips done or something like that, then leave her alone and let her live her life. And people are trying to protect people's freedom. That in and of itself, that's what they believe. Even if I don't agree with it, I at least am empathetic to where they're coming from and believe that they believe they're doing a good thing. So that helped me to be more just empathetic towards people, and see people aren't like, I'm an evil person going to do an evil thing. They just believe differently, and then it plays out differently in real life.
I think another really good example is the gun debate. Republicans are like, I want my guns for my protection to save me from the bad guy. Totally a pure motive. I get it. I am not, I think people think I'm 100% anti-gun. I am not 100% anti-gun. I do believe there needs to be more gun regulations. We'll get into that in another episode. But then you look at the Democrats, right? And they're evil because we want more gun regulations. We want more gun regulations. But they also have pure motives. They don't want to see the young school children shoot each other up anymore, and just all these unnecessary deaths that we have never seen in a lifetime before. It's just really insane. So both sides have pure motives. The Republicans, they want to protect themselves from the bad guys, and the Democrats want to protect the children from the bad guys.
Yes, and that's a hard one. That's a hard one for me to admit too, but that's another conclusion that I had come to. I'm like, let's think of their motives. So let's say Democrats, well, they just want to save these precious innocent kids because they find their dad's gun and try to clean it and accidentally kill themselves. Well, it's noble for them to want to do that. Now, there's a big but from a conservative point of view that I tend to agree with is the right to bear arms. They say it's a meme, when George Washington fought the British, he didn't use words, he shot them, that kind of thing. And the founding fathers, they set up the entire government knowing that all the governments at some point go bad because bad people get their hands on the power. And when they come to lock everybody up, you've got to be able to defend yourself. So they're like, let's put that as number 2. Let's put that in there. So then the conservatives will fight. But I'm like, I can at least see, not agree with, but I can see both points of view and appreciate it.
I think that's awesome. And we right now are showing the world that we can disagree on something and still get along just fine. So I was actually wanting to do a documentary one time about sitting two people face to face that like hate each other extremely due to social media. I don't care what the conflict, but like politically, specifically, because I've had plenty of people block me, unfriend me, just because I share a different perspective. And that's what's so crazy is we're all seeing the same thing. We're all just kind of seeing it from a different angle. And I have come a long way, for the most part, to say that nobody's really 100% wrong.
Yeah, we talk a lot about a gray scale, which seems real postmodern, And so for me, I'm a Jesus follower. So I believe that there is an ultimate right and wrong. But in a lot of our day-to-day issues, it doesn't play out that way. I have a good Christian friend, and he said, we were talking about the abortion issue. I'll spare you the discussion, but he said this. I said, well, what about this situation? And what about this situation? Because everything's right and everything's wrong. He said, let me ask you this. Do you have a beard? Yes. He said, okay, pluck one hair out. Okay. Do you still have a beard? Yes. Pluck another one out. Okay. He said, at what point do you not have a beard? And I go, I don't know. I guess it depends on what the meaning of words is. And he goes, yeah. And then he had no answers for me. He just wanted to leave me hanging out there going, oh, everything doesn't always fit nice and neat in my little right and wrong box. Sometimes there's real life issues. You just got to work out and try to do your best. Maybe you get new information. I don't know.
I was told yesterday I was anti-American.
They found out. Oh no, I can't believe it.
I'm exposed.
Joking.
I know. No, I commented on somebody's post, and they were saying that the coronavirus is only here because of the U.S. election and for Joe Biden and the Democrats to win and take over. And my comment was, the coronavirus doesn't care what political party you're a part of, first of all. And the coronavirus does not revolve around the U.S. elections. I said, sorry, we're not that special. And man, I got attacked. Some guy quoted that and said, that's the most anti-American thing I've ever heard. And I'm going, you're taking that the wrong way. I love America. I'm also a Jesus follower. But it is true. We are not that special in the sense that a virus is coming out of nowhere, out of China, just to play a role in the U.S. elections. I'm sorry, but we are not that special. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's life. People can spin it however they want, but this is just a terrible thing that's happened, and now we're trying to deal with it.
They're talking now. This is wild. The U.S. government is actually investigating if it came out of the Wuhan lab. What do you think about that?
I've had lots of conspiracy theory stuff sent to me because I don't seek that out. I would have 10 years ago. I don't have the time or effort to do it, and you never know if it's true or not. I'm also part of a Facebook group. Someone added me because I'm not this caliber, but it's doctors, PhDs, scientists of all types, biologists and physicists, like really smart people that work at colleges, heads of colleges. They write books. I'm like, just being able to see the stuff that they post, half the time I can't understand it. Well, they are discussing this thing. And when 90% of them agree on one way or another, and they go, oh, okay, that's very interesting. And so they, of course, talking about it being serious and about it being a real thing. And they say, here's a scientific article proving that it wasn't man-made. And that's something I had heard up to that point. So I was glad I have access to this very important information. So I'm going, okay, I have to choose to believe this group of experts, and 90 or 95% of them all believe this way. And the people that don't, they can show them why they're wrong. Okay, I'm going to have to believe it's not man-made. Now, all I have heard since, all else I've ever heard is that it did come from the Wuhan lab, and it was probably accidentally linked. But there's a girl that I'm friends with on Facebook, and she posted today. She researches a lot of science too, just a layman, but she posted an article that says this proves that it was not released from the Wuhan factory or disease
lab.
But I didn't click and read it, and I looked to see where it was coming from, and it wasn't the New York Post or Fox News or some reputable place. So I was like, I'm not going to invest my time. It will come out one way or the other in the upcoming weeks. That's the way it is.
So what I think happened is there is a possibility that it came out of the Wuhan lab. I do not think this is a bioweapon, because if this truly is a bioweapon, it's a terrible bioweapon. Yes, it's deadlier than the flu, but that's about it. I think if it leaked out of the Wuhan lab, it was on accident. I also think with all the scientists and doctors we have in the world, and we've had whistleblowers in our time, probably more so than ever, I think we would have a whistleblower by now, because every scientist can look at this thing under a microscope and tell if it came from a bat or if it was man-made and manipulated in some way. And no one has said that thus far. They said, you know what, looking at the genetics of this thing, it went from bat or animal to human. And so I think that right there really debunks that. And I just don't see any reason for China to release this on purpose, to infect the entire globe. I could see if they wanted to plant it here specifically because of how Trump messed with the tariffs and all that kind of stuff at the beginning of his election. But I mean, it's possible though. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not 100, because maybe it's a really genius way of China getting the upper hand. I mean, because right now they actually do have the upper hand right now, because everyone else is dealing with this.
Yeah, and I don't think it was on purpose. And I'm not an expert. So what's going to happen is people are going to see this, and both of us, they're just going to stick us against the wall. Oh, you're wrong here because this, that, and the other. You could do that to me, and you're probably right. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I don't think it was purposeful. But then there are things like China knew that this was a thing. So people that wanted to fly out of Wuhan, they could not fly to any other place in China. They could only fly to the rest of the world. So they deliberately knew that they were sending this out into the world, and they didn't want their own people infected. And so I'm going, that looks pretty sketchy. But maybe they're thinking if they can get it spread around the world, then they won't be able to track it back to them. I don't know.
I think they were embarrassed. I think they were trying to cover it up, not in the sense like conspiracy theory covered up. I think they were trying to make it stop before it got too widespread, and they just said, crap, this thing's out of control. Now we got to tell them. But they are crazy, man, for the most part. They're commies. So, they killed that doctor. Let's just say that. I believe they did. The guy wanted to tell the whole world, coronavirus, run for your lives. And then, he died. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Comment below. Chris, I love this conversation so much. I think it's important for me to also say this. If you follow me on Facebook, you're a part of my political posts. If you always engage with me or whatnot, you and I talk about this a lot. I'm a very emotional person. You know this. Things do bother me a lot. As much as I love confrontational posts on Facebook, I hate confrontation in real life. I love people. I love people more than anything, and that's what I base my business off of, is that the relationships. You know what I mean? I sell myself first, sell the relationship, create the relationship, then I sell my videography or whatever. And it works. So I always get paranoid when I share a political perspective, especially in the area we live in. My opinions are pretty unpopular. But But I always get worried that like, you know, a close friend or someone who's just snooping my Facebook page is going to get a really negative look of me. And I fight that so much because I don't want to create a culture of negativity on Facebook, but at the same time, it is so addicting. It is so addicting, dude. And it's almost like Facebook knows this too. It's like, you know, I'm getting those notifications and you know, Facebook, the creators, it was designed by, they hired guys who make slot machines in Las Vegas. So it's totally playing on
that's why to refresh your feed. That's why to refresh your feed on your phone, you have to pull down because they decided it's just like pulling the arm. Cha-ching.
That totally makes sense. That's crazy. So the thing is with me is this is what I love about you and I. This episode especially, it proves that two people can be on polar opposite sides for the most part and still get along, see each other's perspectives for what they are, and not even say you're 100% wrong. I think it's important that people practice this on Facebook in real life and not take everything so politically charged as well. Like if I write a comment disagreeing with you, I'm not saying I don't like you. I'm not saying I think you're a piece of garbage for thinking this way. It's just sharing my perspective. And I have so many people, and I know I'm guilty of it. I've came back to people going like eye roll, like how can you believe that? And I'm learning, man. I'm trying to get better at that. But it is addictive. And as much as I'm trying not to post political posts, what are your thoughts? Like, do you think people like should stop caring? Like, you know, like I said, like I always feel like I'm not supposed to post those posts around here. People are like, shame on you, shame on you. But I look and they're all posting their pro-Trump memes and Facebook statuses and all this stuff. I'm like, that is no different than what I'm sharing. I mean, you can do that, but you're telling me I really shouldn't post my thoughts. And I think I start feeling a little oppressed over time, and that's what bothers me too. So it's like this constant battle of feeling oppressed, and then when I share it, I feel liberated, but then I also feel bad again because did I upset that guy? Are they not going to hire me anymore to do video for them? And I get so scared, but I know I'm rambling, but I had a conversation with a client the other day, and they were like, dude, I love you for who you are. You're talented. You're nice. I know you in real life. And they're like, please don't think any differently of me because of how I think and, you know, see the world. And I obviously don't think any less of you. And I love your posts and blah, 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 blah. And thanks for standing up for what you believe and all this stuff. And it was just really nice to go, they do like me. They really like me. So I don't know if you have anything to add on to that, but that's just something that I'm going through. And again, I just don't want to create a culture of negativity. I don't want to be known for that. And I struggle with that, but I also struggle with not wanting to, you know, with not posting that stuff sometimes.
Probably 10 years ago, I posted lots of political stuff, super conservative stuff. Now, I mean, I had to go back and check. I think I rarely post. I do post some, and usually it's going to be a hilarious meme or something. But I just don't post a lot because this is what I think. What's the point? I mean, what's the point? I'm going to put this out here. The people that agree with me are going to agree with me. The people that don't are going to not agree with me. Is there anything productive that comes of this? Sometimes I'll do it because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is new information. And if somebody doesn't know this, maybe it's important for them to know because it's part of the truth story. I don't know if it has any effect, but I know it. How many people go, oh, I saw that Facebook post, it changed my life, changed everything I believe. Or that's the big joke. Well, probably no one ever. So I just refrain from it a lot. I just don't want to put the energy into it.
I can totally see where you're coming from. And you are probably 99% correct. However, I will say I have changed people's minds before, and it's really
okay,
rewarding.
Good.
And other people have changed my minds before.
Okay.
So, but most of the time it's probably not productive. But I also work from home and have 2 monitors and can multitask and do that for fun. So, well, Chris, thank you so much for being my friend. Thank you so much for being on the show. I think this is a really fun podcast. I've never done anything like this before where it's just free flow and this is all live. So I'm really tired. I got 4 hours of sleep last night, so I hope I did okay. I feel like I'm stumbling on my words a lot. But anyway, I hope you guys all learned something, that you can have opposing views on any topic, on any subject, and still get along just fine. Chris, are there any last words you'd like to share with the people about this subject?
I enjoy being challenged. Well, actually, I don't enjoy it. It's good for me to be challenged from a different point of view. So thank you for offering that different point of view. And so I just want to challenge everyone else like you. Think of one subject, 10 hot button topics, gun control or abortion or any of the others. Think of the opposing point of view and try to see somebody who believes opposite of you, why they believe that way. And even though you don't agree with it, can you at least agree? Can you at least see why they feel what they feel and understand that that's what they believe is right? It will really help take the sting out of any conversations you have with someone, because you can see their points of view. And then you can have productive conversations with others instead of just extreme points of view crashing.
Dude, this is why I love you so much, man. Dude, I've told you over and over again that you need to be a motivational speaker, dude. You would make so much money, dude. I'm telling you. No, you do it. I'm terrible, dude, but I'm telling you, man, you would
You can film me.
You would make so much money doing public speaking.
Thanks.
Have you done that? Have you done that?
I've spoken publicly over 1,000 times.
Have you gotten paid for it?
Yes.
Oh, okay, fine. Well, you should do it more and get paid lots.
And at first, didn't go so well. But after number 1,000, I seem to typically get pretty good feedback. So thanks for saying that.
You're welcome, buddy. Guys, Chris Hunter, check him out. Chris, I'm going to drop your links again below. If you guys are in the hotel revenue business and you need a genius to help you make some more money, call this guy up. Dude, you can help anyone make more money. It's not just hotel revenue, but
I have lots of college students that find my website and said, I had one today from Texas. They send me their questions and ask me to help with their homework. So I'll usually give them one.
That's awesome, dude. Guys, what did you think of the podcast today? Did you like the subject? Would you like more or less politics? Of course, I'm ultimately going to do whatever I want because this is my show and I can do that. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think was this like incredible to you? Was this mind blowing that two guys who have opposing views had a full hour conversation without getting upset or angry? And I don't know. I think this is fabulous, dude. And I am so grateful for our relationship. Me and Chris talk every single night for at least 45 minutes every single night. And it's because we're both business owners. We both work from home. So it's kind of our social life, if you will.
It's our water cooler.
It's our water cooler. It's our smoke break, but we don't smoke. We don't smoke. So anyway, guys, Chris, thanks again for being a guest on the show. Guys, make sure you hit the like button, share the videos, subscribe, leave us some comments. What'd you think about some of these hot topics? What do you think about coronavirus? Where are we going to be at in 3 months from now? Guys, I'm Chris Canote with the Chris Canote Show. We'll see you guys next time.